my brethren, be strong in the Most High, and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yah, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand and withstand in the evil day. And having done all to stand, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, take the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High Yah.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1.
Shabbat Shalom, Israel. We'd like to welcome you to another Sword of the Spirit audio biblical teaching broadcast, and we'd like to welcome everyone who has decided to join us today. I am going to release my host. Prina?
Yes, hi, Shabbat Shalom.
And I'm also going to reach our very special co-host. Her name is Kim Torres. She was with us last week, and she's joining us today for our State of the Body discussion panel. So, Kim, if you'd like to say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
All right. We're going to get started. I want to begin. Satan is busy. Just before the show got started, all of a sudden, my stove is malfunctioning, the fan is going off, and it has not been turned on. So right now, we're just going to just say a quick prayer because I feel led. The Most High wants this to go forth, and I know that Satan doesn't want it to go forth. This has not happened before, and as soon as we were getting ready to broadcast live, all of a sudden, I don't even know if you can hear it, but my fan is going off loudly in the background, and I didn't turn it on. So we just come to you, Most High, Father Yah, in the name of Yahushua Mashiach, just praying, Father, that you would just move in this situation. We're going to continue to teach and allow your word to go forth. And we ask, Father Yah, that any doors that you have opened, do not allow the enemy to shut them. We bind any unclean spirit right now in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach that is trying to prevent this show from moving forth. That, Father Yah, which we bind on earth may be bound in heaven. And we lose physical peace, Father Yah. Right now, I ask that you would allow your set-apart spirit to move in me, to speak through me, that I will continue to speak the truth to those who have decided to join us today. Satan is not going to win. It's going to go forth, and I hope that everyone is not able to hear this noise, but we're going to continue forth anyway because I cannot get up to go and stop it. But I know and I already sense the presence, and I know what's really going on, so I'm apologizing right now because it threw me off right at the beginning of the broadcast. The fan just went off. So with that being said, again, we'd like to welcome you all for joining us today. Our topic today that we're going to be discussing is basically why is the church so split on issues that the Bible clearly speaks out against. But before we do that, as we always do, for those of you who are new for the first time that may be listening to the broadcast, we are servants of Yah. We're just a teaching ministry. We're not a church or anything of that sort. We're just a body of believers who have chosen to follow the ways of the Most High. And our mission and goal is twofold. The first is to prepare hearts to seek the Torah or the law of Yah. and to diligently obey and teach the laws, commandments, statutes of the Most High. The second of that twofold mission is to dispel error and to replace it with truth. And our vision ultimately is to be successful in preparing other believers to go out and teach his pure Torah to a spiritually dead and lost people, that we might return into the pure faith of Yahushua, our Messiah, the apostles, and the prophets. So with that being said, just before we get into our panel discussion, today we're going to finish up our finality of the so-called African American. This is part 3. And today's show is entitled Ashkenazi Jews, Israelites, or Imposters. We're going to be talking about who they really are, where they come from, and who they truly descend from. And again, our panel discussion, we're going to be discussing the church and why it's so split on issues that the Bible clearly speaks out against. And then we have our special guest speaker, and I definitely don't want to mispronounce her name. I'm going to allow her, I don't know if it's Tsbiyah. Sis, if you're listening, I sincerely apologize, but Israel. But she's going to be with us today, and so we're going to go ahead and get started. But before that, I have a praise report from a family member that inboxed me and sent a message to me this morning. And for anyone who doesn't know, I, do a lot of teaching on Facebook. And I was inboxed this morning, and for me, I never get a lot of likes. I don't get a lot of people commenting. I don't have that many Facebook friends to begin with. But, in this walk, sometimes you question if you're really reaching people, if people are truly listening, if you're bearing any fruit. And I've been trying to minister and speak to my family members for many, many years. And my cousin this morning, I won't say his name, but he inboxed me and told me that he had been studying the post that I put up, not only for myself, but as well as my friends. And he stated that he's been watching, all of my videos that I put on YouTube. And this morning, he told me that now I'm a believer. And I believe that we are the descendants of Israel. And
Hallelujah.
He wants, I know, hallelujah, praise God. Hallelujah. And he said, what do I do now? Because he said, I grew up in a Catholic church, and then going from Catholic church to Baptist churches. And so now he wants to know, he said, I want to serve the God of Israel the way that we should. This is what he sent to me this morning. And I tell you, I was overjoyed and I was excited, because this is why we do what we do. We are truly about serving the Most High. We don't play church. We're not about caring about the outward and what you look like and trying to look like a Hebrew and sound like a Hebrew. We're about turning back to the laws and the ways of our forefathers. And we want to open up the eyes of our brethren. And so for me to hear that, it has really touched my heart. It brought me almost to tears, because he asked, what do I do now? Now that I know this, how can I serve the God of Israel? I want to serve him the way that I'm supposed to. So I'm going to be getting in contact with him. And, of course, I want him to continue to listen to the shows, because that's going to be beneficial. But I just wanted to share that praise report because, just to hear that, that's what I live for, and that's what the Most High has called me for. And it just kind of helps me, believe the vision that we have. Just such as I said, we want to teach this and, make believers and make sure that they return back to the faith. So just hallelujah for that. So my sisters, Prina and Kim, what are your thoughts on why do you believe that the church is so split on issues that the Bible clearly speaks out against? And some of those things that that they're speaking out against, I'm just wondering why, because, I know there's some doctrinal issues that we, as a body of the Messiah don't agree on. People argue over the name, like Sister Kim said last week. But there's just some issues that we as believers should not be torn and split on. And as people of the body, and if we're true believers, we're supposed to be ambassadors for the Most High. We're supposed to uphold His every word. So, ladies, why do you think, and you can just both take a turn, whoever first, but why is it do you think that we as believers are split on issues like abortion, same-sex marriage, the legalization of drugs, like marijuana, which is drug sorcery, I get why the world is split on these issues, because they don't love my Father and they don't know Him. But those who claim to know Him, why do you think we're split on these issues?
Go ahead,
well, okay, thank you. First of all, the church really should not have no business being split on these issues, and they should speak out. The church only mission is to uphold thus says Yah. And as I was reflecting on why the church is so split, it came in my spirit today that the main reason that many pastors and leaders are split and are tolerating sin and supporting is because they don't fear Yah themselves. They don't fear the Most High. And so if there's no fear, you can teach sin, you can teach compromising, you can teach without conviction. And because where there is fear, you drive sin away. And that's Ecclesiastes 1:20, chapter 1:21. And again, our pastors, they don't have fear. So if they don't have fear in the Most High Yah, because if you fear Yah, you're not going to teach anything but what His doctrine He had gave us from the beginning.
Yeah, because you're going to be held accountable.
You're going to be held accountable. Yeah.
Well, for me, the reason I really believe that they allow all of this foolishness to go forth is because, like she said, they don't fear the Most High and they don't believe His word. If you don't fear coupled with unbelief, anything is open season. And so there are a lot of people out there that don't want to hear the pure word. So like 2 Timothy 4:3 says, the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust will seek teachers that will itch their itchy ears and tell them what they want to hear. And Micah 3:11 tells us that pastors will teach for hire. They judge for reward. They're false prophets for fortune and for money. So they don't want nobody messing with their money, so they're not going to tell you what you need to hear so that you may be healed. Most of us, I didn't send these people. That's Jeremiah 20:15. He said, they prophesy in my name, and I did not send them. So these people are coming in their own vain ways of doing things because they're doing it for hire, and they don't want their money to, and they're not going to see them because don't nobody want to hear there's something wrong with them. So 2 more scriptures I wanted to read on that, and then Ezekiel 1:28 says, Babylon's prophets whitewash their deeds by false visions and lying divisions. They love to say what thus saith the Most High when He has actually spoken nothing, because they know the people are going to flock to them and want to hear what they're saying and pay them. And Lamentations 2:14 says, the vision of the prophets are false and worthless. They do not expose their sins. The prophecies they gave you are misleading and false. So they're doing it all for the mighty dollar. And they're not going to teach them because sin is what gets them paid.
Yeah, so that's like Sister Sherry said last week, they would be out of business.
Yeah, they want, this is business. It's nothing to do with salvation. They're not going to tell you about, they want to tell you the law is done away with so you can live lawless. Thing goes, you don't say like Joel Osteen said, oh, I just hope that one day we can all kumbaya together. You, atheists, everybody. Come on. I'm going to burn for that foolishness. And we are here to tell you the truth. And I know a lot of people ask me because I tell the truth, and it does not matter how you feel about it. The truth is the truth, and it'll set you free if you allow it.
Yes, well.
Yeah, the key word you said, if you allow it, and a lot of people don't want to be set free. They want to remain in their foolishness because it's comfortable, the things that they're doing, they're used to doing it. And so getting back to the topic, about those things, like I said, the world doesn't love him. So we shouldn't have I don't get upset and mad with the world because they don't love him. They don't know him. Right. So, of course, you expect the world to operate out of their flesh. But if you're supposed to be operating in the Spirit and have the Spirit of the Most High in you, and you profess openly that you believe in him, then you believe in him, then you must uphold to his word and what his word says. If he says you're either for him or against him. If you're not for him, you're against him. So there should not be believers going to the polls and voting, as far as on abortion. There's nothing to think about when it comes to abortion, because it says in Exodus 20:13 that thou shalt not murder. That was the 6th commandment. So abortion is murder because it's shedding innocent blood, and that's one of the 6 things that the Most High says that he hates. He said, hands that shed innocent blood. Okay? Well, this is one of the 6 things. Excuse me?
Mentioned something about marijuana, and everybody is is it this or is it that? But if they return to his law, he created the herb meat. He did not tell us to burn them and give us state with his herbs for what he made it for, just like everything else, to know what he made things for instead of deciding we use them for what we think we should use them for. So not legalizing drugs, for the purposes that they're legalizing them for is not what he made them for. Return to the law, or we're not going to understand. We're going to be in our own imagination thinking everything is okay. So no.
Yeah, you said in there, even in the end of Revelation, it was for healing. I mean, he didn't use it for you to be smoking for recreational purposes and getting high. And that's why he said don't be a drunkard, because I can't remember. I don't know if you remember where it was. I think it's in Enoch. But when you're not what's the word I'm looking for? Sober. Thank you. When you're not sober and you're drunk and you're out your mind, that's an open portal for demons. When you start smoking marijuana, that's what witches and warlocks and those who practice drug sorcery, they use that as a portal to allow demons to come in and take over. Why do you think all these rappers, the entertainers, the first thing they do, they say they made their best music when they were high? They get high, and then these demons come in, and then they take over, and they're real. People think that it's a fancy. That's why he says be sober. You're not supposed to be out your mind where you don't know what you're doing. People wake up from being drunk. I passed out. I don't know what happened. But then you like, I would have never done that. Well, I was drunk. We're not supposed to, because I can't remember exactly where it's at. But there's like 5 or 6 different demons that are unleashed when you drink and you get drunk and you're smoking, you're doing those things. And so one of those spirits is anger, where you're ready to be belligerent. And so why you ever know someone say, oh, my uncle, every time he get drunk, he wants to fight. That's a spirit. That's a spirit. And we think we know more than the Most High. For whatever reason, he created us, but we think we know more. And so we don't understand, where did we learn? Where did mankind learn how to abort babies? Because it tells you in the book of Enoch chapter 69, verse 13, that the fallen angel, and it names the demon, the angel. I'm not going to name it because I'm not going to give that demon any praise or worship on my Father's set per day. But this particular demon that is named in Enoch 69:13 says this fallen angel taught mankind the knowledge of aborting babies within the womb of the woman. It taught them how to remove the baby and how to abort it. Mankind didn't know that. All this technology and everything we have, who do you think taught us that? Enoch tells you that. They taught us all these things that the Most High didn't want us to know, because he knew that mankind was going to use it for evil. And so when you're aborting babies, you're committing murder. There's no such thing as a woman's right. You had your right before you opened up your legs to keep them closed. That's the only right you have. If you didn't want a baby, you tell woman's right. No, your right was to keep your legs closed. Because the minute that you have sex with someone, even if you have a condom on, it can break. Anything can happen. The whole point is we know what can result when two people get together physically. You know, a child can be born from that. The child didn't ask to come here. You know, so you have no rights. That's a life. They try to say, oh, well, if it's not, 4 to 5 months, it's not really a life. No, that is a living being, period. And the Most High says the shedding of innocent blood pollutes the lands of a nation. So we got this nation is polluted.
Well, I really think that just because as far as why the church doesn't really want to teach on any of this stuff is because the church is for wickedness, because it's against everything the Bible teaches. It doesn't teach, it teaches all the laws are done away with, so that means it's lawless. The church is lawless. You don't have to do anything but in a deity named Jesus, and you good. And come on now, that's what you need to
right.
What you got to for, what you got to endure for, what you got to do anything for. If all you got to do is believe and keep. No, it's all a big lie. And I mean, I thank the Most High that I started in church, because it told me I needed a Savior. It told me that I needed something. But when I came out, I was like, I despise everything it stands for, because it's a lie within inside of the truth. And that's what the church is, a big built lie around the true book. So, no, they're not going to ever teach the truth, but it's for us to try to pull some of our brethren out of these places and save some from the lie.
Yeah. What about the whole thing is being the issues as far as same-sex marriage? I was reading an article yesterday where it was talking about the churches were split, and some pastors are split on marrying, couples of the same sex, and I don't get that. Like, it's not saying people or politicians in Congress are split on same-sex marriage. It says churches.
Yeah.
So automatically when people hear churches, they're thinking, well, they say God, So it's supposed to be based off of his principles. So what is the church doing split on same-sex marriage? What is the definition of a marriage in Genesis 2:22 through 24? It defines marriage as between a man and a woman.
Yep. I'm telling you, the church ain't never been for the Most High. Never has. It's the great whore of Babylon. That's all it is. It's connected all back to Rome. It has nothing to do with the God of Israel. Nothing.
No.
They're just using it for wickedness.
Yeah.
And that's why when they go ahead, Prina, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say they add their agendas and their holidays and of sin and pagan gods to keep the people deceived. They give them a deity to worship and say he's your savior. He's the one that's going to lead you to eternal life in heaven. They don't even tell you that, heaven is for God. It's not for man. They don't even tell you that where you're going when you die. They don't, nothing. It's just nothing but lawlessness. And they
teach all-inclusive too. Yes. Everybody's accepted.
Tolerance. Oh, love everyone. God love everyone.
Yeah.
Tolerance. And they even have it now in the schools everywhere. You see bumper stickers with it. Coexist.
Oh, yeah, they do. And what Joel Osteen said in the clip we listened to last week, this is what heaven's going to be like, everybody Buddhist. I was like,
come on now.
Like, so what scripture is that?
Right.
Preet and I were talking last night, just the whole point I'm telling you to stay away from the law is to keep you bound, because that's where your freedom is going to be. And, and the Most High, would he have not made, certain laws if it wasn't going on, just like they were, as in the days of Noah, the mixing of seeds and sleeping with animals, and he had a law against bestiality. And, and I was telling Prina this last year, remember when the law came, if you remember last year, all the lawlessness that was passed along with marijuana and abortion, they also had one as far as bestiality, where in the Army now, I think that they're able, it says, to sleep with animals now, because I guess they're over there and they don't have a woman. So why did the Most High create that? The Most High created that law because they were doing this. He was prohibiting certain laws and behaviors, and they were doing these acts. So that's the reason why he created these laws, because these were things that he did not want to happen, and they were occurring. And so as in the days of Noah, it's that way again.
Yeah. He said we're not
supposed to going on before the flood.
Men and men, women and women. We're not supposed to be sleeping. We're not supposed to even be going with other nations, and they're pushing that big time on TV. We're not supposed to mix with other nations. Israel is a set-apart nation for his purpose, and we're doing everything he's telling us not to do, and we're justifying it, trying to find ways to justify it. And the church is not going to stand on any of these issues because they want people to keep coming. They want people to listen to them, and they want to keep the children of Israel in darkness, because if we ever gain our understanding back, we'll be the most powerful people on earth.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't want them. No.
Frida, you had the information on the article that was here, well, the special that came on the news about the lesbian couple.
Oh, the gay couple. Yeah.
The lesbian couple,
Yeah, so it was on Hugh Perkins and I think it was Channel 2 News. A couple is trying to sue or not sue, or just reprimand a doctor for choosing to back away from treating their baby and being a physician to their child because they were gay. And she recanted on seeing them because she said she prayed on it and it was against her belief. And, and now we have attorneys trying to go, if it was attorney speaking, she's trying to create a law so that the lawless can have more protection and protect their gay rights. I don't understand this foolishness.
They're very pushy stuff. Very pushy. They're very pushy. Woman, she getting more notoriety over this, and all they had to do was go somewhere else. But now they want to expose her for not treating them.
Yeah, they don't probably ruin her practice and career behind this, and that's the whole point. Everyone now has rights that's up for us.
But it was once said that a doctor can refuse, because they were talking that if it's against their religious belief, that they can refuse a patient, but now they're trying to make it, it's this big old thing, I have rights, I should have rights, because they passed all these gay laws. So now they want rights and they want their just due. When it clearly says she has a right to not treat a patient. So what happens to her rights?
That's right.
They're going to force these doctors to treat patients against their religious beliefs. It's maddening.
We're getting towards the end, as it is in the days of Noah, so shall it be now. And we're like a rocket towards it stuff. It's bad all around us. Everything is just getting worse and worse. And we have to look at the sign of the times and realize that they're not going to ever teach the truth.
No,
we have to scream it. We have to scream it.
Yeah.
And they're not going to. So we need to try to get as many people to hear what we're saying. Those who don't, you shake the dust and keep it moving. But keep telling. We can't sit down and say, well, I'm just going to go with the flow, like someone told me the other day when I checked some girl about her behavior. We're supposed to check the body. I wasn't mean, but because her flesh wanted to keep being wicked, she got angry, and this other person says, well, she has a right to do what she wants to do. It's her page. And I'm like, see, that's the attitude. We have to be at a higher standard. We can't continue to act the world and then claim Israel. We got to be different. Got to look different, act different, talk different, because this is what the church is doing. The church looks like the world, so they're a big joke. Can't be like that.
Yeah, they are a joke. Nobody, the witness is shot, so that's the reason why people say, well, people in church are the worst ones. That's what you hear all the time, or they call them hypocrites. Where is that coming from? Because they don't see you actually walking the walk.
Right.
Because we supposed to be right. We supposed to be separate. That's what he called Israel. He said, "Be ye separate, because I am separate. I am."
That's
separate.
So and we belong to Him.
Right.
And I try to blend in.
Not to cut you off, Kim. When we see a sword the sword coming, we supposed to warn our brethren. Because if we don't, their blood gonna be on our hand. Now, if we warn them and they choose to do whatever they want to do, then the blood is on their hand. So we have to be the watchmen over people, especially when you call to lead. You have to. You can't just be. You see a car coming down the street and don't warn your brother that you're gonna get hit by the car. You know what I'm saying?
You don't say something. Try to push him out of the way or get him out of the way or something.
Right.
This is the funny thing. This is what the brother want us to do. They want us to say, okay, we see a sword coming, but hold on, I got to go find a man before I can tell him. So they're all called to warn, to talk to each other. You don't have to wait on nobody to tell the Most High's truth, or He gonna take it from you and give it to somebody that will go forth. Let me go find a man to help you. Oh Lord!
Yes, he came back at the ranch while he getting stitched up.
Right. And we could have helped them. We could have warned them, but we got to wait for somebody else to come along because we're just inferior women, and we can't help you. We have to have someone else come and help you. He did not call us to do that. He said we're our brother's keepers. We're brothers and sisters. That's what we are. There are no hierarchy. We're supposed to be waking each other up and getting prepared when He puts down the law for us to become a nation again. We're all supposed to know something. We can't just sit here and wait for people to tell us stuff. We got to take the kingdom by force. Go in, study. Just get it. Word and let Him put it on your heart, everybody, and then go out and get somebody else.
Yeah, and the Most High, chastise the ones He loves. Just like your children. If you love them and you see them doing wrong, you're going to chastise them so that they won't continue in that behavior.
That's right.
Yeah, I was just telling a friend of mine this morning, same thing. We were having that conversation this morning as far as He chastises those whom He loves, as a father chastises his own child.
Yep.
So
the punishment that we're supposed to our chastisement because we've been all the way out of order and we're under the punishment. We're supposed to accept the punishment and go what He told us to do the first time. We can't sit up here but white man didn't do everything we going through.
Yes,
we've been over it because we are under the punishment because of what we did. So we have to return His law. We can't keep saying we ain't under nothing. We ain't got to do nothing. We're going to stay under these curses.
Yeah, because they're not going away until we repent and turn back to the Most High.
That's right, collectively.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and end this, and I'm going to recap next week what we did from last week, and then we're going to bring in our caller. So I'm going to go ahead and mute you, ladies. Thank you for joining us, Kim, today. As always, we love having your input.
Yes, we love you.
Love y'all too. Love all y'all.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mute you. And Prina, I'll have you come back in a little bit later.
Okay.
All right. So, as we were just saying, that I'd like to just end it off by saying, the scripture says you know them by their fruit. So no matter what anyone is saying, and, as far as openly what they believe in, by their fruits, meaning what they do, will truly determine who they really are. I watch what a person does and not what they actually say, because your actions always tell the truth. So with that being said, we're going to get into our mini lesson. It's going to be really short today because we've covered a lot already. Just quickly recapping last week, in the first two shows that we had, which were parts 1 and 2 of our 3-part series, the identity of the so-called African American, we revealed and proved through scripture and history that the so-called African American is neither an African American or an African, as we have all been taught to believe, but they are rather Hebrew Israelites, a.k.a. the chosen people of the Bible. We also revisited the covenant that they made with the Most High in Exodus 19, 3 through 8, as well as those stipulations and specific consequences that Yah stated in Deuteronomy 28 what happened to these particular people, whether for either obeying or disobeying this covenant. So fast forwarding to today, we all know that according to Scripture, the children of Israel did not honor the covenant agreement, and thus they were sold into slavery and scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and are now suffering the curses of Deuteronomy 28, in which verse 46 states will be the identifying sign for knowing who the true children or chosen people are today. And we were able to prove in parts 1 and 2, which covered our first two shows, that not only do so-called African Americans fit all the curses of Deuteronomy 28, but we were able to prove without doubt that they are Hebrew Israelites, not Africans, and definitely not African Americans, but the true chosen people of the Bible. And while I'm speaking right now, once again, my microwave and stove is going off. So Satan he must be really heated that I'm doing this show today. My goodness. So before I introduce the audio clip, we're going to listen to an audio clip today. But before I introduce it, I just wanted to say a couple of things. Now that we know that the so-called African Americans are Hebrew Israelites, which makes them descendants from Noah's son Shem and not Ham, who the Zondervan Dictionary states is the progenitor or the father of the dark races, but not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. So now that we know this, that they're from Shem, because if you're a Hebrew Israelite, they come from the lineage of Shem and not Ham's descendants who make up the African nations, then who are these Ashkenazi Jews who claim to be the chosen people of the Most High? Who are they? Because when you go to Genesis chapter 10, verse 1 through 5, this is where you will find the table of the nations that repopulated the earth after the flood. And according to Genesis 10, 3 through 5, the descendants of Ashkenaz are Gentiles. So my question for you as a listening audience, if they're Ashkenaz, as they claim to be, which makes up 90% of the European Jews that we know of today, then how can they be both chosen and Gentile? Because Genesis 10, 3 through 5 states that Ashkenaz are Gentiles. So, and they come from Japheth. So how are they chosen and Gentile? See, if people who pick up their Bibles and read, and they know that we don't read, that's why they said if you want to keep something from black people, put it in a book, because they don't read. So this shuts down their whole, we're the chosen people right from the beginning, because they don't even come from the lineage of Shem, where the true chosen people, the Israelites, come from Shem, not Ham or Japheth. So they come from Japheth, the Ashkenaz. So how can you be both Gentile and chosen? In the prophecy of Jeremiah 51:27, it states that the children of Israel went to war against the nations, and one of those nations that they went to war against was Ashkenaz. It states this in Jeremiah 51:27. So again, if they're actually the chosen people that the world believes that they are, and they claim at the same time that they're Ashkenaz, then why is the prophet Jeremiah stating that the children of Israel, who are from Shem, why did they go to war against the nations and list Ashkenaz as one of the nations that they went up against? That doesn't make any sense. And even our Messiah himself prophesied in Revelation 2:9 and 3:9 that there are a nation of people who are going around saying that they are Judah. okay, because they said they're saying that they're Judah or Jews, because Jew is a made-up name, and Judah is only one of the 12 tribes, okay? But the Messiah himself is saying that there is a nation of people going around pretending that they're Judah. They're pretending that they're the Hebrew Israelites, but they're really not. So why is our very own Mashiach, the Messiah, saying that they're not who they say they are? Revelations 2:9 reads, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. So the Messiah is first talking to his true chosen people. He said, I know your works. I know your tribulation, your poverty. I know what you're going through. Though it may not look like it, but you are rich. But then now he's addressing these people. And he says, I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. And in Revelation 3:9 is basically repeating it, because we know that he normally repeats things 2 or 3 times, because for anything to be established, for a witness to be established, it has to be done at least 2 to 3 times. So he's repeating himself again in Revelation 3:9. He says, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan. So he's calling them the synagogue of Satan, those who do what? That say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. He says, behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet and know that I have always loved thee. So who are these people that the Most High said are the synagogue of Satan, that say they are Jews but are not? And he calls them a liar. So who does the world look at as Jews today? They surely don't look at the so-called African Americans as his true chosen people. So who's going around saying that they're Jews and the Messiah saying, hold up, they're not. They're the synagogue of Satan, and he's calling them liars because they're going around imposturing and trying to pass themselves off. But we were able to prove the first 2 shows that they're not the people, because they don't fit the curses of Deuteronomy 28, because the real chosen people of the Bible that made the covenant with the Most High, they had stipulations, which were requirements that they had to uphold to. And if they broke it, then they were going to have those curses come down on them. And he said, not only will they come down on you, but they're going to overtake you. And he says in Deuteronomy 28, verse 46, that this will be a sign to identify the seed, meaning the children that come after you, long after you're gone. This curse is going to be on you and your seed and your seed. He said forever. He said this is a sign. The sign is a mark. This is how you're going to know who my people are forever in this earth, based off of these curses. And they're not fitting any of those curses. So the greatest identity theft that has been known to mankind has been playing out right before our eyes on a global stage, and it's been happening for centuries. And that identity theft is none other than a group of people going around saying they're us, saying they're the children of Israel, but they're not. That identity theft is happening only to one people, okay? And it's not those who are calling themselves the real Jews. So those of you who are listening and hearing this for the first time, you know, I ask, what if I told you that those who are calling themselves the children of Israel or calling themselves the chosen people aren't really chosen at all? And so before I put this audio clip on, I want to make a quick disclaimer. The information that is going to be revealed today is not about hate or hatred for these people, because many of them don't even know. A lot of this has been passed on to them, just as all the lies that have been passed on to us and our forefathers, and we didn't know it until the Most High brought us out. So this is not about hatred or hate towards these people, but it's time to prove that the truth has to come out, okay? We can no longer be awakened to the truth of who we are and then continue on with the lie. So the reason that this has to come out, because you have to be able to prove, and we're going to prove from the Bible that, you know, my Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters, that's why I do what I do, because this is about waking up a chosen people. That's all this is about. It's not about hating on them, but it's about waking up a nation of people and returning them back to the laws, judgments, and statutes of the Most High Yah. So we're going to go ahead and listen to this audio clip, and this audio clip is going to reveal who they really are, where they really came from, and who they descended from. And it's about 15 minutes, and then when we come back from the clip, we're going to have our special guest speaker, and I believe it is Tsbiyah. And sis, if you're on the phone, I sincerely apologize. I didn't get a chance to speak to you this morning. I believe it's Tsbiyah Yisrael, and she's going to share her testimony of how she has come into the truth. So as soon as we're done listening with this clip, we're going to bring her in. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to play this clip.
The large majority of surviving Jews in the world are of Eastern European descent, and thus perhaps mainly of Khazar origin. If so, this would mean that their ancestors came not from the Jordan, but from the Volga, not from Canaan, but from the Caucasus, once believed to be the cradle of the Aryan race, and that genetically they are more closely related to the Hun, Uyghur, and Magyar tribes than to the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Arthur Koestler, The 13th Tribe, page 17.
In the year of 1948, a group of people that claimed to be the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob occupied the land of Israel. This was set up by the Great Britain, the United States, under the League of Nations, by the Balfour Declaration. Many people believe that they are the true Israelites, but they are not. They are deceivers. The scriptures and history proves that these people claiming to be direct descendants of the ancient Hebrews are actually not. They even admit it in their almanac. In the 1980 Jewish Almanac, on page 3, under the subtitle of A Brief History of the Terms for Jew, it states, strictly speaking, it is incorrect to call an ancient Israelite a Jew or to call a contemporary Jew an Israelite or a Hebrew. These Ashkenaz Jews are also called Khazars. If you study scripture and history, you will find out that these people are not descendants of Shem, from which the Hebrews derive from, but they are descendants of Ashkenaz and Togarmah. Ashkenaz and Togarmah are the sons of Gomer, and Gomer is the son of Japhet, and Japhet is the father of the Gentile nations, Europe and Russia, and one of the three sons of Noah that helped to repopulate the earth after the flood. Let's take a look at these verses from the book of Bereshith.
Bereshith, Genesis, chapter 10, verses 1 through 5. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Yavan, and Tubal, and Meshach, and Tyrus. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Riphath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Yavan, Elishaz, and Tarshish, Kittim, and Dardanim. By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their land, every one after his tongue, after their families and their nations.
So, according to set-apart scripture, Japhet is grandfather to Ashkenaz and Togarmah. Through Japhet's seeds, the Isles of the Gentiles, which is Europe and Asia, it was established. Now, centuries later, these people are claiming to be of the 12 tribes from the bloodline of Yehuda. You have to be from the seed of Jacob to be the 12 tribes. For out of Shem came the Hebrews, not Japhet. The Most High already knows who the fakes are and points them out for us, but we seem to not be paying attention. These people have been calling themselves Jews and descendants of the ancient Israelites for years. They have stolen the identity, the culture, and heritage of the Most High's chosen ones for themselves. The Most High calls them the synagogue of Satan. Now, let's take a look at Hazan 2:9 and 3:9, which talks about those that call themselves Jews.
Hazan, Revelation, chapter 2, verse 9. I know thy works, and tribulation, and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemer of them which say they are Jews, and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Hazan, Revelation, chapter 3, verse 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
Let's take a look at where these people that occupies the land that once belonged to the real Hebrew Israelites come from. Here are a few encyclopedia entries talking about the true origins of the current occupants of Israel. The primary meaning of Ashkenaz and Ashkenazim in Hebrew is Germany and Germans. This may be due to the fact that the home of the ancient ancestors of the Germans is Media, which is the biblical Ashkenaz. Krauss is of the opinion that in the early medieval ages, the Khazars were sometimes referred to as Ashkenazim. About 92% of all Jews, or approximately 14,500,000, are Ashkenazim. The Universal Jewish Encyclopedia.
Ashkenazim. The Ashkenazim are Jews whose ancestors lived in German lands. It was among Ashkenazi Jews that the idea of political Zionism emerged, leading ultimately to the establishment of the State of Israel. In the late 1960s, Ashkenazi Jews numbered some 11 million, about 84% of the world Jewish population. Encyclopedia Americana, 1985.
Khazar, an ancient Turkic-speaking people who ruled a large and powerful state in the steppes north of the Caucasus Mountains from the 7th century to their demise in the mid-11th century AD. In the 8th century, its political and religious heads, as well as the greater part of the Khazar nobility, abandoned paganism and converted to Judaism. The Khazars are believed to be the ancestors of most Russian and Eastern European Jews. Encyclopedia Americana, 1985.
Khazars, a national group of general Turkic type, independent and sovereign in Eastern Europe between the 7th and 10th centuries CE. During part of this time, the leading Khazars professed Judaism. In spite of the negligible information of an archaeological nature, the presence of Jewish groups and the impact of Jewish ideas in Eastern Europe are considerable during the Middle Ages. Groups have been mentioned as migrating to Central Europe from the East, often have been referred to as Khazars, thus making it impossible to overlook the possibility that they originated from within the former Khazar Empire. The Encyclopedia Judaica, 1972.
Khazars, a non-Semitic Asiatic Mongolian tribal nation who immigrated into Eastern Europe about the 1st century, who were converted as an entire nation to Judaism in the 7th century by the expanding Russian nation, which absorbed the entire Khazar population, and who account for the presence in Eastern Europe of the great numbers of Yiddish-speaking Jews in Russia, Poland, Lithuania, Galatia, Serbia, and Romania. the Jewish Encyclopedia.
Khazars. The Khazars, a Turkic people, created a commercial and political empire that dominated substantial parts of South Russia during much of the 7th through 10th centuries. During the 8th century, the Khazar aristocracy and the Khagan king were converted to Judaism. The Khazars established their capital at Etel or Atil in the Volga Delta, and for 4 centuries thereafter, this Jewish empire held the balance of power between the Christian Byzantine Empire and the Muslim Caliphate. The fortified Khazar city of Sarkil on the lower Don River was built with Byzantine help and served as a crossroads to Central Asia. The Khazars controlled many of the trade routes to the Orient. Some of the Rahanites, Jewish merchants from Gaul, for example, were accustomed to crossing the Khazar Empire while traveling to and from China and India. During the late 10th and early 11th centuries, an alliance of Byzantines and Russians broke the power of the Khazars in the Crimea. In 1965, Sviatoslav I, Duke of Kiev, decisively defeated the Khazar army. Further to the east, new waves of Turkic invaders overran the remains of the Khazar state. New Grolier Encyclopedia.
They just came out with a new DNA study by Dr. Ilan Elhaik of St. John's Hopkins School of Medicine, one of the most distinguished schools in America. He's Jewish. He says that there is no Jewish people, that all of the Jews in the world came from the Khazars and such. Now, there have been other genetic studies on this. In other words, no one living in Israel today has ancestors who came from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Except for the Sephardic Jews of Middle Eastern Jews.
But those are less than 2% of the Jews. In fact, the Palestinians are more Israelite than the Jews are.
But by the way, it was Sephardic Jews they radiated. And by the way, now Obama's going. Why would the Israelis want to kill Jews that are genetically like the truly ancient Jews?
Well, they're the Ashkenazi Jews. You know, it's a long story. The Ashkenazi Jews are the Khazars. They're not Israelites. The Sephardi, many of them are. Those that stayed in the Middle East are. So the people, when Netanyahu said God gave us the title of this land, 5,000 years ago, no such thing. His ancestors came from Khazaria. So
there's been new genetic research showing that's a true theory.
So this just came.
The 13th tribe has been confirmed. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Arthur Kessler, the poor guy died. Some say he was murdered. He was a very good Zionist Jew, and he wrote the 13th tribe. He said they came from all of the historians and archaeologists have always said this. I wanted to.
That's around Georgia.
Yeah, I wanted to know the truth. I wanted to say, well, what is the truth on this? Well, now we have DNA evidence that says the Jews are converts. They're pagans who converted to Judaism. They do not. Their bloodlines do not go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And not only that, but Dr. Elhaik, who is Jewish, who's a real fighter there, he says there's no doubt about it. It's science. So.
There is one thing that identifies who are the true descendants of the ancient Hebrews. That one thing is, the curse is the Most High placed on a disobedient people. The truth is, the occupants of Israel do not fit the curses at all, and never did. We just accept what we're told on TV and in church, and never research for ourselves. These people were never in slavery. They were never taken into captivity by the way of ship to serve their enemies in a land that they did not know. And most of all, they have not forgotten their identity or lost their heritage. To shorten this up, only the Israelites, which are of Shem, fell to the curses. The Most High said that He would bring His people back to Israel by His hand, and not by some letter written to an international banker, Illuminati leader. He also said that he would not bring his people back to Israel until the time of the Gentiles are fulfilled.
Joel chapter 3, verses 1 through 2. For behold, in those days, in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Yehudah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations, and parted my land. Ezekiel chapter 20, verses 34 through 38. And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered, with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith Yahuwah Elohim. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant, and I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am Yahuwah. Luke chapter 21, verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Another people living in Israel that also calls themselves Jews are known as Sephardic Jews. They represent about a little under 20% of the population in Israel. The difference of the Sephardic Jews is that they are really of the lineage of Shem, but they are not from the seed of Jacob. They are from Esau, Jacob's twin brother. Esau is the father of the Edomites. This means, even though they are not of the 12 tribes, they do descend from Isaac, the father of the twins and the son of Abraham. They do not look like the Ashkenazis, but more like the neighboring Arabs with the darker skin complexion. The Ashkenazi uses the Sephardic lineage of Shem, Abraham, and Isaac, along with Judaism, to say or prove all Israelis are of Shem. Sephardic Jews are oppressed by the Ashkenazi Jews because they are calling themselves Jews also. They look down on the Sephardic Jews, they treat them like second-class citizens, and they even call them niggers. Sounds familiar?
On page 39 of Life of an American Jew in Racist Marxist Israel by Jack Bernstein says, one day I entered a cab in Tel Aviv. The place was crowded and I sat down on the only seat available. Also sitting at this table were 5 Sephardim Jews from Morocco. They learned that I was studying the Hebrew language, so they were helping me with my studies. When a blue-eyed Nazi-type Israeli officer walked into the cafe, he ordered me to get away from those Cushim. Cushim in Hebrew means nigger.
People. The ancient Hebrew Israelites left Israel in 70 AD black and came back in 1948 white. This is one of the reasons why the Palestinians do not like the current Israelis. Wake up, black people, and claim your true heritage, the Hebrew heritage.
In a 1952 televised interview, the second president of Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, had to say this about the Jews. You will never be able to live here in peace because you left here black and came back white. We cannot accept you. The reality of the truth is this. African Americans' identity was stolen. Not just their identity, the nature of their being was hijacked by the Europeans many centuries ago. They have done tremendous work on trying to suppress this information. Until one wakes up to the fact that this whole world is a big ball of deception, they will never know how to begin to find out who they truly are. and what is their true mission and position in this life on earth. It is time for everyone, not just black people, everyone, take the scales off of your eyes.
Okay, we are back. So I hope everyone was listening to the information that was provided. I thought that it was very informative as far as identifying who these people are that claiming that they are of Shem and that they're the chosen people, yet as the audio clip showed that they are from Japheth. They are not from Shem, and they definitely are not one of the children of Israel, Judah, like they claim that they are. A point that was made before I bring in our guest, I want to make a couple of points. The Sephardim, it spoke briefly at the end about the Sephardim Jews who are also claiming that they're Jews. They're over there in Palestine as well. And the woman, she made note that the Sephardim are being oppressed by the Ashkenazi Jews. And remember, the Ashkenazi Jews, they make up most, at least 90% of who we recognize as the chosen people today. And the Sephardim are closer, it's stated, to having their skin color like the darker Arabs closer to us. And she made mention that they're called niggers. And so, you know, like she said, sounds familiar. Why are they calling them that? But 2 Kings chapter 17 and 24, in this particular chapter, a distinction is clearly made between the children of Israel and those that are Sephardim. So if the Sephardim Jews, those that are over there claiming that they're Israel, then why was a distinction made by the king of Assyria when he was bringing men over from Babylon? He made a clear distinction, and that's noted in 2 Kings 17 and 24. And something, you know, very wicked about these people in 2 Kings 17 and verse 31, and particularly verse 31, speaks about the Sephardim burning their children in the fire to the god of Sephardim. So these people were burning their children to Molech. They were allowing them to pass through the fire, sacrificing their children. These weren't Israelites. This is speaking about Sephardim. So this just basically proves that those Sephardim, as well as the Ashkenazis, these so-called Jews that are living over in Palestine, which was Israel, which was Palestine, today, that they're not the chosen people of the Most High, and neither are the Sephardim. The Sephardim are Esau. They entered into the land in the first century along with the Romans when Israel was being kicked out, and this is recorded in the book of Obadiah. And a prophecy in Ezekiel 36, verse 5, it states that other nations, along with Edom, were unrighteously living in the land of his chosen people. So the Most High is saying, you know, surely I have spoken in the fire of my jealousy against the rest of the nations and against Edom and all those of her that have given my land to themselves for a possession with all joy and heart. So the Most High he's jealous. He said, look, I'm speaking out against all of you, all of these nations, and he named Edom as one. Sephardim is Edom. They're not from the seed of Jacob. Okay? He says he's speaking out against the rest of the nations and against Edom. And then he says, and all those, okay, that have given my land to themselves for possession. He didn't give that land to them. So this is the reason why you're not going to see peace. There's no peace over in Israel right now. Because if the true people were over there, there would be peace. And there's never going to be peace over in Israel until the true children of Israel return back to the land. And so with that being said, I had something else I was going to bring up, just the last thing. The Jewish Encyclopedia, it states that the original stock of the Khazars came from the land of Edom. And this is in their own encyclopedia, that the original stock of Khazars came from the land of Edom. And before they called themselves Jews or Ashkenaz, they were known as the serpent people. That's who they called themselves, because there was no J until the late 1500s, the 16th century. They were known as the serpent people, and everywhere the Khazars went, they got kicked out of the land. So this is the reason why you see the chaos and the war that's going on over there, because the true people, we're not there yet. And so when we return back over there, you won't see the stuff that's going on right now. So that's the end of the lesson of our 3-part series. First, identifying how the so-called African American is a Hebrew Israelite. And we are the chosen people of the Bible. We also proved last week that you are not an African American and you are not an African. And then this week we wanted to finish in our finality of just basically proving and showing to you who these people are that are claiming to be us, not because of hatred, but because it's time for the truth to be known. And it's time for us to wake up. And I pray that our brothers and sisters who are not only listening now, but those who will be listening to this broadcast afterwards, eyes will be open and ears will be open and heart be circumcised, and they will have an understanding. So what I'm going to do right now is log in, and I'm going to unmute our guest and bring her in. Hello, sis. Can you hear me?
Yes. How are you?
Hi. How are you? You know what? I know I have jacked your name up. I am apologize. Is it Zabiyah? Tsbiyah. Okay, I am so sorry. That's why I was afraid. I'm like, ooh, Father, please don't let me mess up.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I forget myself sometimes. And I forget the spelling all the time. And it's like, okay, let me go and look at my Facebook page and see what this is. Because when the Most High gave it to me, it was based off of one of our ancestors. And it so fitted my character and who I desired to be known as. But it's still an adjustment. So I understand.
Okay, well, welcome to Sword of the Spirit audio broadcast. We're happy that, you decided to come and, share your testimony, because I know it's not easy. A lot of people don't want to do that because they're afraid to come on and, not comfortable with that. But I'm glad when I tried to contact you, I said, I'll see how it goes. And so I was happy that you wanted to come on and share your testimony, your journey. And so just go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience and just go from there.
Hi, I am Tsbiyah Yisrael, and I came into the truth. It was a long process. It started about a year and a half ago, and it was an interesting journey. I had been in a Christian church for, many, many, many years. And you know how in that setting, in that environment, especially with the Bless Me Now type doctrine that's being pushed, you have certain expectations that you're putting on the Most High, all the while not living for Him in the way that you're supposed to be living for Him. And I had opened up a store. I was blessed to have it in a really, really predominant, nice area, and it failed. And I got completely depressed about that. And I was mad at the Most High. But in that, I never stopped loving Him the way I knew how to love Him, and I never stopped believing, in Him. But from that failure, I questioned a lot of the stuff that had been being taught, and I also even while in the church, there was things that when I would read in the Bible, I would perceive them differently. I would go to my husband and I would say, I think that Paul says that we're supposed to strive for perfection. And my husband would disregard me. No, there's no way we could be perfect. And so I always, whatever I question, I would always, just kind of push it to the side and never dig deeper. So anyway, in this failure of this business, I got really depressed. But because I am kind of a go-getter, I always have to be doing something. So I found my other niche. My next niche was going to be, I'm going to open up a blog. And so in this, I decided to review books. It just so happened that when I started to review books, it was in the romance genre. And it was going, completely far away from, the things of the Most High. It's like I went from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. And I was getting pretty big and known. I had built up a really large following. I started getting invited, by authors like E.L. James, Sylvia Day, to come to their signings, to promote and push their books. And I was like, oh, I'm doing something. I'm really thinking I'm doing something. So I'm sitting, in my little woman cave, I call it, doing something I shouldn't be doing, and reviewing a book. And the Most High, I feel like, I am, without a doubt, the Most High decided to snatch me off the wide road to hell. And I feel that he says, I want you to write a book about the Antichrist. And I'm thinking in my head, what? I've never studied prophecy before. It confused me. It scared me. I'm like, okay, this is me. I'm tripping. There's no way he's talking about it. And then it goes a little further. Get rid of all that junk you have because, in the, as you know, you're an author, in the author field, authors do a lot to promote their books. So in that, they send out bookmarks, trading cards, bags, pins, buttons, you name it. I had like 2 big boxes of what the community would consider as swag and books to send out as giveaways from my blog, to promote these authors. And it was like, okay. And then it was like, get rid of those books. And I was like, okay. But how, I'm thinking like, this is myself, what am I saying? But it was so stern and strong, it was like, okay, I better be obedient. So from there, I started studying prophecy. And in studying that, I did get rid of all of my books and all of the swag. Since that day, I've never touched a book that was not leading me to the things of the Most High, and that's been approximately a year and a half ago. So I started studying prophecy, and I would come across all these different, thoughts and beliefs, and is there a pre-trib rapture? Is there a mid-trib rapture? Is there, and so I'm still like just trying to find my way in what is considered probably the Christian or the mainstream point of view when it comes to the truth. And I felt like I was getting in the truth, but something was not clicking. By this time, it was like March of 2014. The Most High, I felt, sent a word to me that says he was doing something new. He needed me to go deeper, cut off hearing anything that any preacher has to say. Just study the word. If he has something to tell me, I will get it from the word. If I'm listening to someone else, when I come into the word, I am already going to have a underlying thought or perception about that's going to influence what I read and how I receive the word. So I said, okay, so I'm trying to be obedient in this, and so I start doing that. And the next thing I get is the Sabbath is not done away with. Start honoring the Sabbath. And so I go to my husband and I tell him, I said, the Sabbath, I'm getting the Sabbath is not done is not done away with. And I said, I don't know why when I feel like the Most High talks to me, all he does is rebuke me, but I guess I better heed. So my husband is like, if you start keeping the Sabbath, you know this is going to bring all the law back on you. And he told me the story about the gentleman in the Old Testament that did something very simple on the Sabbath, but of course wasn't supposed to, and was taken out, you know. I mean, to say it nicely, by the Most High.
What are you talking about?
And I'm like, yes, that exactly.
Okay.
And so I was like, I understand, but this is what I'm getting. Well, my husband, we had been believing the Most High for Sundays off to go to church, to attend a church for over 10 or 11 years. And my husband was never able to get that off. Immediately, it seemed like as soon as we both got the revelation that, okay, we're going to do this, we are supposed to start celebrating the Sabbath, the Most High immediately opened up the door for him to have off on Saturdays.
Wow,
and it was like, are you kidding me? And I was like, see, we must be on the right track. Then from there, we started started observing the Sabbath. And little by little, the Most High just continued bringing us into a truth. I had an author friend came to me and go, you know, Jesus is black, don't you? And I'm like, what does it matter? You know, like, why does it really matter? And he would send me videos that always led to the street camp, and that really turned me off. So I was never able to receive anything from that, get a minute or two into the video and, you know, just go on. So the Most High started revealing stuff to me because I continued to keep other things out, started revealing to me, you know, scriptures in the Bible that started talking about us. And eventually I stumbled across Deuteronomy 28. And when I read those curses, there was no denying that we are the children of Israel. And from there, you know, daily it's like it was a struggle. You know, am I part of the great apostasy that is falling away? You know, because you're always programmed to think that the great apostasy is falling away from the Christian church.
Yeah.
And so even though I'm coming into this truth and I'm seeing everything biblically, I'm doubting and I'm questioning, you know, am I wrong, you know, Most High? Am I getting this right? And what is it? You know, why do I feel like I'm still lost and not, you know, it was so much pressure to really fully accept it, even though it was a small journey and I got bit by bit. When the truth fully hit me, it came in like a mighty storm, it felt like, because you have to, everything that you've been taught, everything that you've known is just washed away, and you have to start over, you know. And so you're questioning, are you falling into a cult? You know, especially not really having a covering, as you know, outside of my husband, who was slower to come to the truth than I was. The Most High was dealing with me, and as he dealt with me, I went to my husband. My husband didn't always receive what I was saying to him, but eventually, you know, the Most High would deal with him, and he would receive it. We did that it was months. You know, it was back and forth. There was a lot of tension, you know. The Most High is this. And one point, you guys mentioned the name. One point I said, you know, I don't think Jesus is his real name. The Messiah's real name. And he's like, the name doesn't matter, you know, blah, blah. I said, well, I think I'm going to start praying in his name. Although I didn't know what the name was, but, you know, of course I started looking and digging more into the name and stuff. And he goes, well, you do that, and you tell me how that works out for you.
Wow.
but eventually he got into the Word, and he did his own study and actually delivered a great Sabbath study to our family. We have 7 children, and delivered a great study to myself and our children about the name and how much power is in the name and why it does matter. And in that, I know that the Most High bring us into the truth the way we need to be brought into the truth. I just hope that we all can do our part to give a little here, give a little there, so that we can drop the nuggets to get our people to start to wake up. But ultimately, that is the Most High that calls one's blinders to be removed. Yeah, that's cool. I'm sure you get very frustrated in trying to deliver the truth. And, every other day I'm getting a message in my mailbox. Are you Muslim now? When did you convert to Islam? And I'm like, I tell my husband, I don't think I post one scripture from the Quran. How is it that I'm Muslim?
Yeah, pretty much. That's how it seems to go. As soon as you come into this truth, my family, they thought I was in a cult. They was like, what, you in a cult now? And I'm like, no. They was like, well, you keep the Sabbath. You 7-day Adventist? And I'm like, no. This is the word. We're supposed to all be reading from the same Bible, but because I'm honoring and doing as commanded, as the word says, I'm in the cult. But you're doing nothing that's in it, but I'm the one that's in the cult.
Right.
So how has your journey been as far as lately? Is it easier now as opposed to before?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of your question.
I said, how is your journey now? Is it it's easier, a lot easier now than it was before?
Yes, as far as serving the Most High is easy. Trying to understand the law, statutes, and commandments, that's a battle in itself. Just because there's a lot of detail, I do understand that there's a base level, but it's deeper than the base level, and it's just trying to understand, even as far as whether or not we keep the feast, while we're in captivity. So just really trying to understand the word has been a little more of a struggle, but on the base level, things have smoothed out. We're just trying to get into the deeper things of the Most High at this point. And I was blessed enough for my husband to come into the truth as I was coming into the truth, so there's not a lot of friction in the household. That is so amazing, because I hear so many horror stories, about the division that families endure because of coming into the truth.
Oh, yeah, I know all about it. Trust me, I know all about it. And I'm going to bring my co-host in. Let me unmute her. Prina? Let me see here. Prina?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just in regards to what she was saying as far as the division and the household, you have anything you might want to add to that?
Well, I was just going to say that I, too, had some division in my family, but it wasn't real strong, but it was strong enough. Some of my children are in truth and some aren't. But, the Most High just speak on, division. And, if you put mother, brother, father, sister, anyone before him, then, you are not worthy. You are not of him. And so a lot of times we as people worry about what our families think or feel, or our friends or our spouse. But when you are being called, you have to do that of the Most High, because he said, your family are the ones that do the will of the Most High. That's who your family are. You know, and so at times, for those of you out there that is trying to find your way and your family is a stumbling block for you, you have to know who you serving. Either you're going to serve the Most High, or are you going to just straddle the fence because you worried about what a family member or a friend is worried thinking of you. You know, at the end of the day, your salvation is the most important, and if you are say you've chosen and you're going to walk in the ways of the Father, you have to do the will of the Father, and you can't put anyone before you. You know, any family member before you. You know, you just have to remember that, you know, those that do the will of the Most High are your family members.
Okay. Kim, did you have a question or a comment? Because I have you on the special guest caller line, so when I put everybody in the queue, you wouldn't be able to press. So did you have a comment or a question?
Yes. I like what she was saying, you know, about not once you come into the knowledge of the truth and your, you know, your family members. Thank goodness your husband was able to grasp it. But I've had a lot of people inbox me and say, "Sis, I don't know what to do. My husband is talking about leaving," or, you know, now that I've come to the truth, if I keep the Sabbath day, they're going to put me out my house. I mean, it really gets bad. Some people, I've had people really, really just upset about things, and I'm like, at the end of the day, are you going to please men or are you going to please the Most High and keep walking? Because you never know if you're going to draw them by your conduct down the line. It might look bad and crazy now, but it does smooth out, or he's going to remove them, one or the other. So as far as you going into the deeper things, at least both of you are going together. But when you get into the things, he's going to reveal it to you. He's going to reveal to you everything you need to know. Me and Shaitan have been in this walk for many years, and, you know, as far as the feast days go, she tried to tell me about, you know, how the Passover, we're not supposed to be really worrying about trying to keep the actual service in captivity. I told her, girl, bye. He said keep it forever. I'm like, whatever. And I went home because about to happen. We were about to have the Passover when she told me this. I'm like, girl, bye. So I went home. I said, I'm going to do it by myself, whatever. So I did it because my heart was not open to receive it. A year later, I saw the scriptures that actually just calmly he showed me so clearly that we can't do this in captivity. We can have a memorial and remember it, but he put it in word, in his statutes, that we can't do it. So I had to go and humble myself because I heard her voice just as clear. I said, oh, my God, sis, you told me this last year, and I was not open to receive it. So I rejected it. And this is just with anything else in this word. When people are not receiving, don't beat them over the head. Back up. Just say, okay, I'll let the Most High show you. And when he shows you, you'll never forget who told you first. You know, so don't sweat about anything you're trying to learn. The Most High is going to whisper the truth to you so clearly you're going to see it like, wow. Nothing you got to search for and dig all deep for. He's just going to show it to you because you want it. You know, so that's a wonderful testimony, sis, that for all those journeys. What happened to the book you were starting on? What happened to it?
You know, I'm still researching. Unfortunately, everything that I thought I knew came to a abrupt halt because now it's completely different. I'm looking at it from an Israel standpoint instead of a Christianity standpoint. Yeah. So, you know, it's almost you have to go back to the beginning to know how the end comes out. And it's overwhelming. You know, I don't know how the 400-year prophecy plays into effect, but I'm still digging. And I tell the Most High, I say, you'll be back before I write this book. Please don't hold it against me. But I mean, I do research and search it out daily. I just know in his timing. I tell my husband sometimes, I said, maybe it was a ruse. I said, you think he just told me that so I can, to get me into the truth, you know, and I'm really not supposed to write the book? Anything to get out of it, right? But I'm still digging.
Yep, as you grow, he's going to start giving you more responsibility and more things. And as you are formed into his likeness, where he wants you to be as a vessel, then when it's time to write that, you'll write it with ease. You won't have any reservations, and you'll have all the answers you need because he's going to give it to you. You know, but whenever you're pushing up against something and it just seems like it's too difficult, that means you need to step back and wait and see, okay, what you want me to do, Father? And when he makes it easier for you, it'll just happen. You know, so that's exactly how that works. And we are in this walk, and it's going to get tough because we're headed for some really hard times, and people need to understand this word. They got to come away from doctrines and actually just get into the word and understand it, because when these things happen, a lot of people are going to fall away. That's when it's going to happen, because they're not going to understand what's going on. They're not going to understand why they're going through so tough, because church tells you everything's going to be all right, Joel Osteen. Everything's going to be okay. All you have to do is believe. No, you got to get in it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that really sets up the people for failure in to fall away from even the love of the, you know, of the Most High, although it's not really, you know, him, but in their hearts, even though they don't know who they're serving, they do believe, you know, that they are reaching out to the one true God.
Well, you got to keep his ways. He said this a million times. If you love me, keep my commandments. If you're not, you're hearing the truth is not in you. He said this all heard. So, I mean, those who are really going to follow him are going to have to discipline themselves. Our Mashiach did not die for us to just have a free pass to, like Shaitan say, ain't nobody going to be sliding a skateboard and you know, to do some work.
Yeah, that's the part that don't. I'm going to put everybody in the Q&A, so if anybody, we can continue with it. If you have a question, you can press *6, and then you'll be able to ask a question. So if you do have a question for our guest speaker, or you want to comment on the show, or if you have just a question about anything that you've heard today, you just press *6 on your phone, and you'll be able to ask a question. So continue what you were saying. I, write too, and I really haven't been promoting my books like I should be. I was doing it heavily before, but I really have just pretty much stopped that because I felt like the Most High was saying, okay, it's time for you to get down. And I've always been about his business, but I felt like there was an unction put in my spirit, like, it's time, because the times that we're in right now, this is, I feel like, where he really needs me. Not saying that I don't want to continue to promote, but right now that's on the back burner. That's not important to me right now.
You know what? He allows us to have fleshly things. He allows us to enjoy life. He allows us to have things, but he also wants it in its place. So if he's got a special assignment for us, our fleshly things that we want to do have to kind of take a back burner to what he wants for us. Not saying that he never wants us to have fun or, our gifts and things that we love to do, but he's jealous, and he's like, okay, right now I need you to do this, not this. And if you do what he says do, eventually he might go on and say, okay, now have a little fun for a minute. But you got to keep coming back to your first love, which is teaching others what he's given us. So, because we're in the end time, so it's time, to get out here. And a lot of people, they don't want to do the work. Like you saw them, you said they were like Facebook Israelites. Oh, man, they just like to get on here and talk about being righteous, but then the minute somebody says something they don't like, and a lot of it's immaturity, but the next thing you know, all kind of entities are coming out of their mouth, and they're fighting over stuff, and I'm just looking like he has called us to such a much bigger purpose than trying to establish order in a place where there is no order. We just need to wake up now.
Right.
In a lawless land, you trying to establish order, talking about you can't do this and you can't do that, and women got to do this. Look, get out there and teach somebody who they are, and stop worrying about all this stuff right here. You know, we got too much to do before he comes back.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot to be done. So we have I think we have a caller, and let me see, bring this caller in. This caller from area code 912. You are on, so you're able to ask a question. Shabbat
Hello,
shalom. Hi, Shabbat
shalom.
How
are you guys? I'm so glad to be a part of the call today. I just really want to thank you guys for just being out here for those of us who come into the truth. And my question to any of you ladies is, you know, I have children who, all my children haven't come in either, and one in particular is having difficulty with accepting the truth about the enemies and all that kind of thing. But, you know, I tell her to focus mostly on just knowing who she is and learning the Most High's law, statutes, and ordinances and living by them and being an example to the nations, because in the beginning that's what Israel was supposed to do as a nation anyway. So what are your thoughts on that?
Go ahead. I'll let you answer that because I think you actually going through that. So go ahead. I was getting ready to tell you to answer it. Prina, this is Prina.
Yes, my name is Prina. How are you?
Hi, I'm Becky. Rebecca Tsbiyah Yisrael. I'm glad to meet you guys.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, wow. Well, welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, the one thing that I can say about rebellious children or children that won't embrace it or completely embrace it is you have to be steadfast in His word. And they watching you all the time. You can't waver. And when you learn something new and or if you come into further knowledge of something and you did something wrong, acknowledge it. You know, and then eventually, you know, they will take hold. And you have to remember sometimes they won't. And you have to, yes, that's your children and you love them and it may hurt, but at the end of the day, you just have to teach them what you have learned and what truth that you have been given and pray that they do, but you can't worry yourself over it.
Right.
You know, because they have to be accountable for what they do too.
That's
you know,
true.
and you can't go to the Father, you know, in the end times. You're not going to be before Him for your children. You know, you're not going to stand for them and say, well, you know, can I pray for my son to get in? No, because everybody is accountable for their own sins and their own doing. And, you know, you just have to speak out when they are doing wrong and point it to them. I mean, because I do. When my kids are wrong, I just point them to the truth. You know, and I don't argue with them. I just show them what thus says Yah. And, yes, I'm angry, but at the end of the day, they have to walk it out just like you.
Thank you.
And how old, if I might ask, how old are your children?
I was just getting ready to say something about that because just to give you a little background, I was an ordained minister in a large ministry. And, and my children, of course, were brought up. They're all grown. They were all brought up in the faith, in the Pentecostal church, Bible believing, tongue talking, Holy Ghost, you know, all those things.
Yeah.
And I am the mother. I guess if you would talk to them, it was like, Mom, you taught us this. So for them, it's a big transition for them to see me say, I'm keeping the Sabbath. And I can't go back to church. And the Most High has revealed this unto me and your dad, and we're keeping the Sabbath, and we're at home. And see, none of them live with us now. Our baby actually just left and went to another state to live with her sister, who's married, and she watched us in the home, and she watched us keep the Sabbath, and she respects us, but it's still kind of like, but Mom, you taught us as children. We were babies. You know, they were born in the church, and this has just been like I think about Paul, who said, I count it all dung that I might win Christ and be found in him, not having my own righteousness, but that which is of the faith of Jesus Christ. So I have, been a campaigner, a supporter, a renegader, for the church for all these years, for 30-plus years, my husband and I. And then I transitioned because the Most High brought us to the truth, and it came through my oldest son, who the Lord, he prayed a prayer and said, this has to be more than this. And when he told us, we looked at him like, that boy is crazy,
Mm-hmm.
But as time went on, he had planted a seed, and that seed germinated and became something that we are living out, and it is amazing. It's wonderful, and it's glorious. And now
it's harder when they're already grown, but, sing and praying and, continuing to show the light in your newfound walk in their presence is all you can do. They're not little babies anymore.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying to you, that they're going to continue to watch you, because I have my second oldest, she watched me like a hawk, as you could say. But, she has to take hold of the dietary. She would do that. But, and the Sabbath, not work on the Sabbath. But it's still, she still have a lot more growing to do and a lot more to really come in the truth. Because, she's pick and choose right now. Right now she's picking and choosing what feels good to her soul. She's saying, oh, Mom, but you did it. You was young. And I'm like, yes, and I was a sinner. I was heading for the lake, and you just have to just stay steadfast. That's all I can say is stay steadfast and don't, waver for anyone.
Well, I did have something I want to add to that. I wanted to add about this is the hope that we have. The Most High said, and this is prophecy, that he's going to come and gather his children, and this ain't but a few years away, okay? It's as close as most think. He said that he's going to come and gather us, and in the wilderness, he's going to turn away godlessness from Jacob. So those who get out there that kind of just don't know what they're doing, he said he's going to turn it away. If these people really have a heart for him, that's where it's going to happen. It's going to happen when he does that. And if they don't choose it, like he said, there's going to be one from a family, sometimes two from a town. It's a remnant. So all of your children might not get it, but there's a hope that they might. So just always think towards the hope. Keep thinking and keep praying that they're going to turn and get this and keep walking.
Yeah, just making sure, like Prina and they were saying, Kim was saying, just remaining steadfast and unwavering. As, because people are going to watch you. They may not. They may be resistant because, many family members and friends, I try to minister to them, and I'm always sharing the truth, and sometimes I feel like I'm just beating my head against a wall. It's a dead horse. They're not listening to me, but they are. When they saw that I wasn't coming to the holiday functions, I wasn't coming to the Christmas dinners, I wasn't coming, you don't got to, we ain't got no tree up, we just come together, you can just come get a plate. No, I can't have a plate because that's eating food that's sacrificed to devils, because that meal was prepared unto Tammuz.
Right.
I can't eat it. So when they see you stop coming to all of the holiday functions and you're standing your ground, but you're still walking in love with them, but you're saying, no, I love you, but I cannot do that because that's breaking the first commandment. Thou shalt know the gods before me. You know the powers. You're not serving anyone else. When they see you honoring the Sabbath, when they say, oh, well, can you just come take me to the grocery store on this? No, I can take you to the grocery store when the sun go down. I can't.
And that's exactly what's happening right now. Especially this past Christmas was like a real blow for my I have grandchildren, and I didn't buy gifts. I didn't send cards. I didn't put up a tree. I didn't even call anybody, and they respected that, but it was very difficult for them. So, but I see the transition, and we are standing our ground, and it's amazing to see. It is truly a freedom. You really do. You are free when you come to this truth.
Yeah.
You are. And there's a peace.
Yes, absolutely.
You see the two the two messiahs. You see the two religions. You see it becomes so clear that you were following the wide road when you get on the narrow road and you find out that everything that you do is geared towards the truth, whereas the world is and choosing and doing whatever they want. You see the big difference. You see it. You got to come to see it. You can't see it while you're still in it.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Can't see that
you're still under the cloud of deception. That's why, you know.
Yeah.
You got to come out of that.
There's a nasty taste that begins to get in your mouth once your eyes begin to get open about what you're seeing in the masses, and you realize this is not right. And over time you say, there's something wrong. And it literally got to the point where it was almost like a gang thing in church, where the spirit behind these people was like a gang, like they want to attack because there's something about you that's different. So it's like the Most High wouldn't let you get settled, even though you've been there all this time. He wouldn't let you get settled and be accepted. You had to come out. So it's just been an amazing journey, and we're just really excited.
You'd walk up in there now, and everybody would seem like they were speaking some other language. It would seem so foreign. Right? You come away from it like, oh, my goodness, what was I thinking?
Or they look at you and say, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. We don't want you here. And you're like, why are they rejecting me? And you have to learn not to take it personal, but it is the Most High letting you know you don't belong here. Come out from among them.
Yeah, come out from among her, my people. And most people don't know what that really truly means. It means come out of the entire system, not just the church building, but everything that great whore Revelations, represents. Everything, her churches, her doctrine, everything that whore has set up that has been in opposition to the word of the Most High. You have to come out of all of it, and until you fully come out, you're not going to be able to see it. It's almost like, and Kim and I was talking about earlier, being in a horrible relationship with a guy, and he's not really treating you right, and it's something quite is wrong. He's dogging you out, and it's like not until you finally get out of that relationship.
Right.
You think, what in the world was I thinking? I can't believe I was in love with this fool.
Yeah.
But you can't see it while you're still in it, and you justify it. Well, his name, it could be anything until you receive the name, whether you call him Yehoshua, Yeshua, Yahusha, whatever the way you pronounce it. When you take the name and you get rid of all of the false names, then you begin to see why this name is so horrible that you've been called. But you can't see still using it.
That's right.
So it's so big, and it gets bigger and bigger. When I first came out, I thought I knew everything for a minute. I'm like, oh, shoot, I know who came from who. I know who we are. And then he started dropping new bombs on me. I'm like, oh, my God, does this ever end? I didn't know nothing. And to this day, I'm thinking I know a lot now, but we're really just touching the tip of what we should know.
Yeah. It's so deep. It's deeper than we can ever imagine.
He said we all know in part.
That's what my husband and I were talking about today, that we know in part. But if he gave it all to us at one time, it would overwhelm us. But
we'd be somewhere rocking in the corner like, okay, I can't touch it.
It was too much in the beginning anyway, but then you get mad. Did you guys go through that, have that emotion of anger to where you want to tell everybody and tell these preachers,
I was going to go to church down. Every Christmas I was talking about going out knocking over Christmas tree ornaments and stuff that people had on their lawn. And, I was just overzealous. I was about to get out there and do some damage. And
you would have been in jail.
Yeah, everybody is wrong. You want to wake everybody up in 1 minute. With folks, that's just being you're new.
Yeah. But we have to be patient, because just like it happened for us, it'll happen for them. They'll call. They will hear the call.
Yeah, they're definitely. Do we have any other callers? If anyone else has a call before we end today, you need to press *6 on your phone. If you don't have a question, if you have a comment about today's show, anything of the sort, press *6 on your phone now, and then you can go ahead and make your comment or ask the question. But yeah, so we definitely hope that you tell everyone about the show and you continue to listen. Did you catch the show from the beginning or?
Yeah, actually, I was maybe 6 minutes late for this one, but I found you on Facebook, and I listened to a replay of a call. I guess it was from last week. I'm not really sure.
Okay, yeah.
But it was such a blessing. I said, "Wow!" I said, "This is great because I don't have a place to go for a convocation in Savannah. There's no place. There's churches on every corner, and this is the South, so it's really different than up north where I come from. And these people are very close knit, and it's just me and my husband, and we just do it, in our home, in the confines of our home, and and we're doing the best we can. We definitely keep the dietary laws, and it's been a challenge, but we are doing it. I've even gone far as I don't wear pants anymore, and I'm enjoying that. It's amazing liberation. I don't know if you guys knew about that statute that a woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, and the man shall not wear that which pertaineth to a woman. Yeah. So it even talks about breaches and stuff in the scriptures, but just starting to read from Genesis through the Bible and just really learn this word has been amazing. And the teacher is still in there, the preacher is still in there, but I'm learning to sit back and just be fed. So it's just been amazing.
I have one last comment. I did have one last comment about what is happening right now. We're in Ezekiel 37, the dry bones. We're waking up, but we're coming from our members. Right now, we don't have a building of worship. We are coming together in small groups, and we're still worshiping, and we're still coming together in His name. Where 2 or 3 come together, He's in the midst. So He's in the midst of what we're doing, no matter how many people come together. This is His will until He gathers us back as a nation. So about looking for groups. If it ain't the right group, you don't need to be there anyway. You need to find the right fellowship with, and that's all you need, and Him.
And that's why I believe this was the Most High's doing for me, because He knew that I needed, an outlet where I could talk to some ladies and just, be a part of that fellowship. And I felt the anointing when you said that. I felt the witness in my spirit that this is what He's doing for us. Even small groups, it's all good, because whether, like you said, 2 or 3 are gathered together in the name of Yahweh Shai, He's in the midst.
Yeah. And He's not going to let this internet shut down, and because it's a tool to bring His people together right now, because they want to try to. And right now, this is what we have. We're coming together in all these small type of ways, and the Most High is not going to let them do anything until He's ready to shut it down, because something new is getting ready to happen. So what
I need is for y'all to give me y'all information so I can get you on whatever I need to get you on, so I can stay in touch.
Well, I give her your channel on Facebook that you teach on, so she can send you a request.
Please.
Yeah, Kim Torah. Facebook. I'm at Kim Torah.
Yep. Can't spell that for me?
KIMTORAH.
Okay.
I teach every day on, so.
Is that all it is? Is just Kim Torah?
It's Facebook. You just type in, I'm the only Kim Torah on Facebook.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
we have a website as well as, and I also minister on Facebook as well. If you inbox us, well, I'll just give you. Our email address is www. Servants of Yah. That's servants with the S. Servants of Yah.
Okay.
.web.com. That's our biblical teaching website. www.servantsofyah.webs.com. And our email address is servantsofyah@yahoo.com.
Okay.
Right.
And on Facebook, email me and I'll give you, because I don't want everybody, some people have some ill intentions. So when you email me, servantsofyah@yahoo.com, I'll give you my personal, because And my personal, I do, most of the time I'm teaching on, I'm ministering the scriptures, but it's also my personal page because I'm an author as well. So when you email service@yahoo.com, if you email me today, I'll go ahead and I'll give you that personal information. But visit the website and my YouTube channel, where I also have many videos on there, is Daughter of Yah. Daughter of Yah, that's the YouTube channel. And we also have a biblical teaching conference every year where we host it at a hotel, and it's an all-day teaching, and we serve, breakfast and lunch or whatever, and everything is completely free, all the food, the meals, the teaching, and it was actually videotaped and recorded. So that's also on the website as well as on YouTube. And the one we just did this past year is Who Are the Gentiles, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's huge. We do look at, I don't know if you guys heard of Israel of God and the House of Jacob Bible Study. You can get those on YouTube, too, and there's some elders that are teaching the Word of God, and those are what we take part in their Sabbath day services that are online and streaming on Sabbath days.
I think I've heard of House of Jacob.
House of Jacob, and then Israel of God.
Yeah, Israel of God. I'll check them out. Okay, well, we don't have any other questions, so anyone else have any sayings or anything you would like to say before we end the show?
Well, I would just like to say, I'm sorry, Kim.
No, go ahead.
Okay, no, I would just like to say something really quick, that we are responsible to study to show ourselves approved. We already know that there's a lot of false teaching and doctrines out there, and that's why we were warned to beware of sheep's and wolves in sheep clothing. So you have to also get behind these pastors and study yourself. You cannot let the pastors lead you to the down that broad road to the lake of fire. You have to be responsible for your own salvation.
That's right. And I really, the thing I want to say is, when it comes to this word, get away from your own understanding. When you start getting in your own head, if you think something means, you have to know how the word works. Everything has to be confirmed by 2 to 3 different witnesses in the word. So if something is somewhere else, learn how to navigate through the scriptures. He said precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. That's the only way you're going to know what's going on, is to skip around the entire book. Get out the New Testament only and get the Old and New together, and let the Father show you how to navigate and stay out of your own thinking. Because when you start thinking and ad-lib into what you think it means, you're wrong. I'm just going to tell you already. For itself, even when it's hard, you got to say, wow, that's what it looks like it means. So let me go and dig and let the word tell me what it means. And then when you see that, you will not be led wrong when you let the word speak for itself.
Okay. All right, Priya, you want to lead us out with scripture reading?
Yes. And David blessed Yah before the eyes of all the congregation. And David said, Blessed are you, O Yah, the Most High of Israel, our Father forever and ever. To you, O Yah, be the greatness and the power and the glory and the victory. All in the heavens and in the earth belongs to you. O Yah, yours is the kingdom, and you lift up yourself to all as the head. And riches and honor come from before you, and you rule over all, and in your hand is power and might, and it is in your hand to make great and to give strength to all. And now, our Most High, we are giving thanks to you and giving praise to your high esteemed name. O Yah, Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, our fathers, keep this forever for the intent of the thought of the heart of your people, and prepare their heart toward you. In Yeshua's name, so be it.
In Yeshua's name. So we thank everyone for joining us today, and we just ask that you would share this audio broadcast with family members, friends, those you're trying to bring into the truth. Next week, we are going to be discussing where do you go now? Where do you go from here? What do you do next? Okay, now that you know that you are the children of Israel, you are the chosen people of the Most High Yah, what do you do next? So that's what we're going to be focusing on, and we have two special guest speakers next week, two gentlemen that are going to be coming on, and so we look forward to having you joining us next week. So please make sure that you share this audio broadcast with family members and friends, and we are Servants of Yah, and we just thank everyone for joining us today, and we just say Shabbat Shalom to everyone that's listening. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.